Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students of business statistics. Today we will discuss related to descriptive statistics. So far, we have discussed the introduction of business statistics, presentation of data. If I consider the week-wise, session-wise, the course breakdown, we have discussed measure of central tendency. In measure of central tendency, mean, median, and mode. Moreover, we have discussed the presentation of data with the help of frequency distribution and multiple topics related to frequency distribution. So far we already have discussed. For example, single value grouping, limit grouping, cut point grouping. Moreover, the histogram of these three types of frequency distribution we already covered. Now, our today's discussion is based upon quartiles. Okay, so the name of the topic is quartile. Quartile is basically distribute the data set into four different parts. Okay, the quartiles distribute the data into four equal parts, so that is why it is called quartile. One part represents first quarter or first quartile. Okay, similarly second quartile and third quartile. So there are three quartiles, Q1, Q2 and Q3. Roughly speaking, the first quartile, Q1, is the number that divides the bottom 25% of the data from the top 75%. The second quartile, which is Q2, is the median actually. And as you know, the median is the number that divides the bottom 50% of the data from the top 50%. Okay? And similarly, the third quartile is actually the a number that divide the whole data set into bottom 75% and the top 25%. So if you look into this figure, the quartile 1 represents 25%, quartile 2 represents 50% from the bottom, quartile 3 represents 75% from the bottom, and or you can say quartile 3 represent top 25%. Okay, so here four different figures are shown. The uniform distribution having equal frequency throughout the data set, a bell-shaped curve which is symmetrical, a right skewed which is asymmetrical, similarly a left skewed which is again left skewed means which is again asymmetrical. So we can define the quartiles in terms of these figures. Quartile 1 which is 25%, quartile 2 which is again 25%, or from the bottom it is 50%, and from quartile 2 to the top is again 50%. So quartile 2 is actually the center of the distribution. Okay, so students, what we need to do is to find out the quartiles using a data set. Considering this example, table 3.12, the weekly TV viewing times is given, and for finding the quartile, the first task is to arrange the data set into increasing order. For example, here the data is arranged in increasing order. The weekly TV viewing times is given for 20 peoples. and you need to determine the quartile for these data sets. As you know already, we discussed in the class the calculation of median score. The same likewise we need to do in calculation of the quartile 2. Since we have 20 observation, which is even figure, so just add plus 1, 20 plus 1, which is 21, divided by 2, it is 10.5. So this means halfway between 10th and 11th observation would be the quartile 2. So here we have two observations in the mid of these data sets, 30 and 31. So it becomes 30.5. Likewise, you can find the quartile 1 and quartile 3. For quartile 1, the part of entire data set that lies at or below the median of the entire data set, just separate out those data sets which are below the median score. For example, in my case, the observations from 5 to 30, these are how many observations? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 observations which are below the median score. So considering these data set, find out the middle score of these data. Since we have 10 observation, 10 is even number, so just add a plus 1. We have 10 observations, so 10 plus 1, 11. 11 by 2 means 5.5. 5.5 means we need to find the halfway between 5th and 6th observation. Okay, so the 5th and 6th observation is nothing but 21 and 25, which is of course if you add 21 and 25 by 2, it becomes 23. 23 is the first quartile. Likewise, consider those observations which are above the median score. For example, in my case, the observations from 31 to 66, these are the observations which are above the median score. Now again, we have 10 observation. Okay, so find the median score of these 10 observations. The median position is halfway between the 5th and 6th observation. The 5th and 6th is 35 and 38. So find the average of these two observations, which is of course 35 plus 38 divided by 2 becomes 36.5, and this score is nothing but the third quartile. So in this way we can find out first, second and third quartile and just report what these values are actually telling. We can interpret that 25% of the TV viewing times are less than 23 hours because quartile 1 is 23, and moreover we can interpret that 25% are between quartile 1 and quartile 2, which is 23 hours and 30.5 hours, and moreover we can report that 25% are between 30.5 hours and 36.5 hours, and 25% are greater than 36.5 hours. So this should be the interpretation of quartile 1, 2 and 3.